I cheated on my ex-husband with Chad.
Really?
I wouldn't say cheat because I mentally checked out.
I understand. So you were almost done with that relationship.
I was done.
So you were done.
I was
with
mentally checked out. And I grew an emotional attach. So it was like I was already sexually, physically attracted to him. So it just made it even better.
She went to a party with a homegirl, right? Yeah. And hit me on the phone at the party. It was like 12:30. You say, baby, I'm on that Don Julio. You better be ready when I get home. Oh, I done took a shower. I done lotioned up. Well, I'm gonna wear her ass out. So she come home. I pretend like I'm asleep though. So she get in the bed. I let 5 minutes go by. I'm pretending like I'm still asleep. All of a sudden, all I hear is, I'm like, oh, hell no. I put on my slides and I cleared it. I wish somebody would have called me. Talking about, hey, as soon as the car pull up in the driveway, yeah, and them lights cut off, oh, that's for me. And when she open the door, baby, all right there.
Now, when you hear this exchange, you can tell that Chad is being treated like a son. He's being treated like a boy. But here's why. When a woman already has a man and you cheat with her, you're playing by her rules. You have to take the time she can get away from her husband. You have to take the time she can get away from her children. You have to take the time she can get away from her other responsibilities. So what you are just a stopgap. Whenever there's a gap in her schedule, you stop her from being bored during that time. You stop her from having to deal with the issues that she herself has contributed to creating in her own life. And this is what Chad did.
I can't kiss her. I got chapstick on.
And he been smoking cigars.
You been smoking cigars? You don't like cigars? So
it's funny, when we met,
yes,
I was smoking cigars.
It wasn't no problem.
And it wasn't no problem.
But you brushed your teeth and you had a mint in the back of your mouth. Now you got complacent.
Right.
And you think you're supposed to just kiss on me. So, crazy thing is, Chad has always been my celebrity crush.
Okay.
Like, if I would describe the perfect man, it was him. Chocolate, pretty smile.
Right.
A few moments later.
So we'll be different because we are emotional creatures. And I feel like, when I was younger, I used to have the tit for tat mentality, and I cheated on my ex-husband with Chad. Really? I wouldn't say cheat because I mentally checked out.
I understand. So you were almost done with that relationship.
I was done.
So you were done.
I was
with
mentally checked out. And I grew an emotional attach. So it was like I was already sexually, physically attracted to him. So it just made it even better.
But see, that doesn't feel like tit for tat. It just feels like you was done and somebody else caught your attention.
But at the age I'm at now, I felt like it was wrong because I should have ended that relationship fully.
Yeah,
I agree. I was younger, and at that time, I was focused on myself and trying to get over everything that I went through. And if I would go back, I probably wouldn't have did what I did, but it happened. I can't go back and change it.
Does that affect your relationship now?
With us?
Yeah.
Of course.
So do you feel like Chad may not trust you as much because he knows you was with her another?
I wouldn't say it doesn't affect Chad and our relationship because I told him the reason why I did what I did. Mm-hmm. But it does affect my ex-husband and our relationship. We do have a child together, and
so we are co-parenting.
Co-parenting, it does affect a lot. We don't communicate at all. Yeah. I bought my son a phone. That's how we communicate. But it's hard to really explain to him because as a man, their pride is very hard. It's like, I understand. You basically, I took care of things you should have, but they don't see what they do.
Now, I don't keep up with this. So somebody sent me this clip of this interview where she's admitting that she cheated on her husband with Chad and how now the man doesn't even want to talk to her. Why? Because the man footed the bills and took care of this woman. They had a child together. The woman made vows to the man, and instead of coming to that man like a grown woman and saying, I don't want to do this anymore, and breaking up with him before she moved on, she did what we all know women do. A woman is gonna have a soft landing spot. That's all Chad was. Never take a woman seriously when you were her rebound relationship, because all you are is a rebound. When you watch the NBA, unless a guard rebounds, and even when a guard rebounds the ball, he gets the ball up quickly because there's a big guy running the lane. So when you see LeBron and D-Wade back in the day throw those baseball passes, or you see Steph throw some crazy bounce pass, or Kyrie throw some crazy bounce pass, or Luka or whoever, it's always the fact that off the rebound, the ball automatically pops out of your hand because the fast break is already going. The rebounder is the first one to get the ball, but he's also the first one to lose the ball. Now, what I want y'all to understand is this. All we're hearing and seeing is that here's a man who has terrible luck with women because he has a type of woman. I like to call these women slim big backs. Now, what this means is this. When you look at a woman's real profile, if her shoulders are wider than her hips, she has masculine energy. She's starting to get those broad shoulders. I want y'all to understand something. As a man with masculine energy, you can build your body a certain way. As a woman with feminine energy, you can't. As a woman with masculine energy, you can build your body a certain way, and it starts to look manly, and you start to grow whiskers, and your chest gets flatter, and your biceps get bigger, and your shoulders get broader and rounder, and you start to look kind of manly. As a man, if you just engage in feminine energy and embrace it, then you're going to start to be shaped like a woman. You're going to get softer. You're going to get rounder. You're going to, sometimes somebody can't tell if you're a man or a woman when you're walking down the street. But I say all of that to point you in one direction and get you guys to focus on this. A woman who will cheat on her husband is a disgrace, not only to femininity, not only to masculinity, but to the human experience. She is the worst type of woman. And when you hear this woman make these excuses, well, you know, I didn't really cheat. I had already mentally checked out, but you were still married to the man. Well, you know, I was already sexually attracted to Chad, but you were still married to the man. Well, you know, the man didn't own what he did, but you were still married to the man. None of that stuff matters if you're still married to the man. And Ocho should be ashamed of himself. And you know my problem with black folks in America? Y'all always embrace anything. Y'all always embrace anything. Like, look at how these women are embracing CB. Man, listen, they got documentaries on this cat. This cat been paying out women, man, for, you know, assault charges and all of this, man, for years, man. Like this man literally physically beat the brakes off a woman in a car. And even y'all dudes, I hear y'all talking about, man, well, no, she probably hit him too. Yeah, probably is nothing. We see what happened. Well, I ain't see that boy face bruised up. But I want y'all to understand that y'all have to start having a standard. If you don't have a standard, then you cannot demand that someone else have a standard if you don't have one. Chad Ocho is a weak man. He's a weak man. The first woman he had headbutted her in the face. So not only is he a cheater, he's a woman beater. And y'all still support these guys like this. So I want y'all to understand, man, that if this is the standard that you're going to have, then you got to live with that standard. You got to accept that that's your standard. You got to accept that if you accept, you got to understand that whatever you accept is what you deserve. So when you look at a guy like Chad Ocho, man, he has terrible relationships because he's a weak man. And in order for you to have a man's wife cheat with you and then turn around and try to marry that same woman, man, these dudes are simps. Ocho is a simp. Shannon is a simp. All of these celebrity guys are simps. The majority of these content creator guys are simps. The majority of these guys shouldn't even be speaking about women. You got these guys talking about how much game they got, man, and they be like in open marriages, man. You got these guys talking about, how great marriage is and all that, and they old lady running the household, man. You got these guys talking about, man, a man's supposed to pay this and a man's supposed to pay that, and you see his old lady, man, she ain't even fine. I'm talking about, man, you mean tell me you gonna pay a woman that don't even look good? You gonna pay a woman that already has somebody else's kids? Like, these guys don't have no standards at all, man. And what I'm telling you, man, is your job to have a standard. That's why they all want to fly away from the term alpha male. That's why they all want to shine so much negative energy on the term alpha male. Well, you know what? Over here in the alpha sphere, baby, we the alpha males of the world. Why? Because we live according to our standard. Whatever we want to do, we do it. Not because somebody else put some pressure on us to do it. Not because we feel like we don't have a better option. We do it because we want to do it. We live the way we live because we want to live that way. We don't look out into the world and say, okay, women are good or women are bad or women are anything. We look out in the world and say, I'm a man, I like women. Women like me. I'm going to have an interaction with women the way I want to have it. And I'm going to deal with the quality and quantity of women that I want to. And everything going to be good and everybody going to get along and we all going to be happy doing what we doing. We live our lives a certain way and we don't compromise. You know what kind of compromise and fool you got to be in an open relationship? And if you're a man like Ocho Cinco and you met a woman who was married and you cheated with her while she was still married, you started off in an open relationship. Let me help y'all understand something. If a woman has a man and you cheat with her, you're letting her know that you are willing to accept her having another man because you knew she had another man from day one. Sleeping with another man's wife is you accepting an open relationship, and you're accepting the short end of the open relationship because all you get from the woman is opportunity to be her wife. You're soaking up her problems. You're an emotional sponge. You're a spiritual sponge. And what do sponges do? You never seen nobody clean something that's already clean with a sponge. People clean things that are dirty with a sponge. People clean things that are soiled with a sponge. People clean things that are toxic with a sponge. No one looks at something and say that is spotless and I'm going to clean it with a sponge. It doesn't happen. So I want y'all to use Ocho as an example of what not to be as an alpha man. All that money he got, he ain't spent none of his check. All that money he got, he's morally defunct and his masculinity is very, very low. You look at Shannon, hanging out with the stylist all the time, then gonna release a video of himself, the audio anyway, of him getting it in with somebody named Michelle. This ain't even about game. This is about masculine respect. You're not masculine enough to respect masculine energy. And you're also not masculine enough to accept and be honest about your feminine energy. So you live this life that looks one way to the public, but behind closed doors, beta male simp-manginitis is the true subject. All right, I'm done with this one. Like this video on your way out if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. When you subscribe, click that notification bell. Make sure your notifications are on so you can be alerted to when I upload some more of this Prism of the Ism. And as always, alphas up, betas down. Peace.